one of the many games I am looking forward to that's coming out next year would have to be Shadow of the Colossus for the PlayStation 4. We have seen this game on the PlayStation 2. It was remastered in HD on the PlayStation 3 and got a bump up to a very steady 30 frames per second. And now it's going to be remade completely from the ground up for the PlayStation 4 by Blue Point Games. And they just released a new trailer. I don't know if I said this on the podcast when we talked about the initial trailer revealed during E3 this year, but some of the animations kind of seemed a little bit early, like early work. Wander, when he was running, like his run didn't really have like the same kind of feel or weight to it that it did in the original game. And with this trailer, everything seems like it's a lot closer to how the original game actually played and how you can move. And now this trailer was also captured using the PlayStation 4 Pro, so I don't know if the PlayStation 4 base model is going to see any drastic drop in either image quality or frame rate. Hopefully this is just going to be one of those games where it's like it'll play in 4K upscaled on Pro and it'll play at 1080p on the base model, but everything else remains the same. I hope. But it's interesting that Blue Point Games is doing this. Blue Point, they're kind of I want to say they're a newish studio. They did the Nathan Drake collection for PlayStation 4, which were, I wouldn't call them remasters. I'd call them more like ports of the original Uncharted trilogy for the PlayStation 3. Bumped everything up to 60 frames per second, made the game look better, that sort of thing. And they did a really good job on it. I want to say they also worked on the Vita version of PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, and that game is probably one of the prettier Vita games. So they haven't done a whole lot, but what they have done is pretty good. So I think this is probably going to be a studio that I'm going to start keeping my eye on. But what were your impressions of this latest trailer that came out?
I feel like the particle effects for one of the Colossus that was standing up, the one with its sword was part of its arm,
big long sword.
Mm-hmm. When it was getting up, I feel like the dirt that was falling off of it looked a lot better. Everything, I think we may have talked about it during the E3 video, but just one thing that made the original game, I think, just really good, apart from, I think graphics at the time where it was actually pretty good, was just the weight of everything. Everything felt like it actually had weight, where, you'd fight like some giant bosses in some games and it's just like, I don't feel like you should be flying around. Like Mario 64, whenever you like fight Bowser, little plumber man just grabbing a big old turtle dragon by the tail and just flinging him off, and then when he bounces back, he's just doing. It's just like, okay. But then again, it's a Mario game. But like these giant creatures, they step on the ground and like Earth kind of just it kind of like pushes out, especially when they fall. Because when they fall and they crash down, like everything, like the ground underneath them, just like it cracks up in a way that it looks like it would actually do that. When they walk around, they look like they actually have some weight to them. They move slow. It's not like some giant thing just like running at you at the speed of light, ready to do, a really fast, heavy-hitting attack. Whenever they do attack, it's slow.
Mm-hmm.
But it is big, so, if you're anywhere near the attack zone, which you probably won't be. You'll probably be underneath them. But I do like that they kept that the same. It looks a lot better. The lighting effects look a lot better. It's looking good.
It is looking good. So, and it's going to be here in 2018, next year.
Also, what was his name? The main character of the game? Wander. The way he rides his horse looks a lot better. I hated in the PlayStation 2 version of the game, his feet were just like... It's basically him riding on a horse.
Yeah.
Like, these were his legs, and they'd just be like flopping around.
He did have his like knee joints, but no, I know what you mean. It was
super spaced out.
Yeah.
But in this one, it looks like he's actually, he's got a decent grip on the horse.
And I heard on a recent podcast, I don't know if you've heard of either Beta 64, A Plus Start, or She Says with Boundary Break on YouTube. But they're 3 gaming channels that do different things, and they have a podcast together called the Game Club Podcast. And I think a couple, like maybe 3 weeks ago, they were talking about Shadow of the Colossus, and someone complained about, they just said the horse controls suck. The horse controls do not suck in that game. You are not controlling the horse when you're on the horse. What you're doing is you are controlling Wander, who then in turn is controlling the horse. And it's brilliant, and I can't believe that was lost on them. And it seems to be lost on a lot of people. Like, people were like, oh yeah, I can't stand riding the horse. Why? Because it's realistic? It's not Epona. Epona's like basically like a vehicle that you drive, where it's like 1-to-1. It's not going to be 1-to-1. It's not supposed to be. And I think, it's funny actually, because people made the same complaint with The Last Guardian, with Trico, where he wouldn't always do the thing that you were telling him to do. Yeah, that's the point. His AI was supposed to be that of a living creature. So, yeah, I just heard that and had to get that off my chest. There's nothing wrong with the horse controls. In fact, I hope that they keep them pretty much exactly the same, where you hit a button to kick the horse, and you have to keep, if you want to go faster, you have to kick the horse a couple of times. Or, you have to, if you want to turn left, you pressing left makes Wander move the reins left, and then the horse will turn left. Like, that's how horse riding works in real life. Did you play Shadow of the Colossus?
I did not.
So you really don't have any idea what I'm talking about.
I can only talk about how pretty it looks.
It does look pretty. That it does.